December 19th, 2025. Mark this date. It's not just another day on the calendar. It is the day when the most mysterious object we have ever encountered, the interstellar traveler 3I Atlas, makes its closest approach to Earth. We are talking about a distance of 1.8 astronomical units, roughly 269 million kilometers. Safe? Yes. Boring? Absolutely not. Because what we are seeing now, just days before this encounter, is rewriting everything we thought we knew about comets, about the cosmos, and perhaps about our place in it. Welcome back. If you are new here, you have arrived at the critical moment. We are tracking 3I Atlas, the third visitor from the stars. But unlike Oumuamua, which tumbled past us as a dark, silent shard, and unlike Borisov, which looked like a standard snowball, 3I Atlas is performing. It is putting on a show that has astronomers baffled and the rest of us asking the uncomfortable questions. Today, we are not looking back at how it was found. We are looking at the now. The data that has just come down from the Hubble Space Telescope and the ALMA Observatory in Chile. And let me tell you, the data is strange. It is beautifully, terrifyingly strange. Let's start with the visual evidence. We have new images. On November 30th, the Hubble Space Telescope turned its eye toward 3I Atlas. The object was moving away from the sun, retreating into the dark. You would expect a comet to behave like a comet, a tail streaming away from the solar wind, fading as it cools. But 3I Atlas? It's flaunting a structure that shouldn't be there. Hubble captured a clear, distinct anti-tail. Now, in standard astronomy, an anti-tail is an optical illusion, a trick of perspective where heavy dust particles seem to point toward the sun. But this is persistent. It's a spike of material pointing directly at the star it just survived. Avi Loeb, the Harvard astronomer who has been challenging the mainstream narrative since Oumuamua, points out something unsettling. This anti-tail seems to always point toward the sun, regardless of the comet's motion. Think about that. A tail that defies the solar wind? Or is it something else? Some are whispering the word exhaust. Others are saying it's a counterflow. But the visual data is undeniable. There are two distinct jets. One is the standard, smoky tail we expect. The other is this sharp, sunward lance. It looks less like a crumbling rock and more like a stabilized object. But the real story, the one that might change history, isn't just in what we see. It's in what we smell. Not literally, of course, but spectroscopically. The Atacama Large Millimeter Dark Submillimeter Array, or ALMA, has been sniffing the gas cloud around 3I Atlas, and the cocktail it found is shocking. We are seeing massive amounts of methanol, CH3OH, and hydrogen cyanide, HCN. Now don't panic. Hydrogen cyanide is a poison, yes. It's deadly. But in the context of the cosmos, it's a building block. It's a precursor for amino acids, for adenine, one of the bases of DNA. And methanol? It's a fundamental ingredient for life as we know it. Here's the kicker. The ratio. The amount of methanol compared to hydrogen cyanide is off the charts. We are talking about a ratio of 124 to 1. This is incredibly high. The only other time we've seen something even remotely close was with the bizarre comet C-2016 R2. But 3I Atlas is from another star system. Avi Loeb poses a question that sends shivers down the spine. Is this object a serial killer bringing poison? Or is it a friendly gardener? Imagine a gardener walking through a barren field, scattering seeds. Methanol, hydrogen cyanide, the ingredients for biology. Is 3I Atlas a natural panspermia vessel, a rock that just happens to be loaded with the starter kit for life? Or is it a probe, a manufactured object designed to seed worlds? The friendly gardener hypothesis suggests that this object might be intentionally distributing the chemistry of life. The high methanol content is the signature. It's not just a random mix. It's a specific, life-enabling cocktail. And it's venting this cocktail into our solar system right now. And remember that anti-tail? The one pointing at the sun? If you were a gardener, wouldn't you want to direct your spray? I'm not saying it's aliens, but I am saying that if you were to design a machine to seed life, it might look exactly like this. A dark crust to protect the payload, jets to stabilize the orbit, and a wake of organic molecules left behind. We are watching a celestial crop duster pass by Earth, and on December 19th, it will be right in our neighborhood. But there is more. The color. The object has been shifting. It started red, then it turned green. And now, the latest reports indicate a shift to blue. A deep, electric blue. This isn't just a mood ring. It tells us about the gases being burned off. Blue usually means ionized gases, carbon monoxide, nitrogen. But the sequence, red, green, blue, it's almost systematic. And then there are the signals. Oh, yes, we need to talk about the signals. On November 10th, rumors started flying. The MeerKAT radio telescope in South Africa picked up emissions, frequencies around 1665 and 1667 MHz. The internet exploded. It's phoning home. It's a beacon. The official explanation? Hydroxyl radicals. O molecules breaking down in the sunlight. Natural. Boring. Expected. They say the comet isn't talking. It's just screaming in radio waves as it boils. But here is the thing about natural explanations. They work until they don't. We are seeing a combination of anomalies that is statistically uncomfortable. The trajectory, the survival of the solar passage, the anti-tail, the specific chemical payload, and now the radio glow. We are standing on the precipice of December 19th. The scientific community is divided. The natural rock camp is holding the line, but their line is getting thinner with every new data packet. The technological camp, led by the likes of Loeb, is looking at the same data and seeing a blueprint. In the next part of this report, we are going to dive deeper into the blue shift and what the upcoming observations on December 19th could reveal. We will look at the specific hooks that might prove, once and for all, if we are looking at a rock or a rocket. You do not want to miss what comes next. We are analyzing the orbital mechanics that suggest this thing might be correcting its course. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. You need to be here when the data drops. 3I Atlas is almost at our doorstep, and it has brought gifts. The question is, are they for us? Let's talk about the chameleon in the room. The color. When 3I Atlas first appeared, it was red. Deep, dark red. That's standard for interstellar objects. Millions of years of cosmic rays baking the surface into a carbon-rich crust. We expected that. It was the color of age, the color of a traveler that has seen the void. Then, as it dove toward the sun, it turned green. Emerald green. That's diatomic carbon and cyanogen burning. Again, rare, but natural. It happens. But now, as it speeds away from the sun and heads toward us, it has shifted again. It is blue. Blue is difficult. In the language of comets, blue usually means ionized carbon monoxide or nitrogen. It means high energy. It means heat. But 3I Atlas is moving away from the heat source. It should be cooling down. It should be fading back to red or gray. Instead, it's glowing with this electric azure hue. Why? One theory is that the sun stripped away the old red crust, exposing a pristine icy interior that we've never seen before. A fresh surface from another star system. A rebirth of the object. But there is another possibility. A possibility that keeps people like Avi Loeb awake at night. What if the color change isn't just chemistry? What if it's a byproduct of propulsion. This brings us to the movement, the trajectory. We know 3I Atlas is on a hyperbolic orbit. It's fast, too fast to be captured by the sun. It's just passing through. But the way it's passing through is making the orbital dynamicists sweat. We are seeing non-gravitational acceleration. Now, comets do this. They heat up, gas shoots out like a jet, and it pushes the rock. It's the rocket effect, nature's little thruster. But usually, that thrust is chaotic. It tumbles the comet. It's messy. It makes the object wobble. 3I Atlas is smooth. The acceleration is consistent. And remember those jets? The anti-tail pointing at the sun. It's acting like a stabilizer. It's keeping the object oriented. Avi Loeb suggested months ago that if this object were artificial, it might use the sun for a gravity assist, an Oberth maneuver. You dive deep into the gravity well, fire your engines at the point of closest approach, and you get a massive slingshot boost. 3I Atlas dove deep. It survived a proximity to the sun that should have torn a loose pile of rubble apart. It didn't disintegrate. It brightened. It shifted color. And it came out the other side with a trajectory that is just slightly off from a purely gravitational curve. Is it correcting its course to get a better look at Earth? Or is it just trying to leave our system as fast as possible? And while it moves, it hums. Let's go back to those radio signals picked up by MeerKAT. 1665 megahertz. The scientists say hydroxyl radicals. They say it's the sound of water molecules breaking apart. And they are probably right. It's the most logical, safe answer. But here's the detail they don't put in the headlines. The signal is steady. Usually, cometary radio noise bursts and fades as the object rotates and active vents turn toward and away from us. 3I Atlas, the signal is a hum, a constant drone. If it's a natural object, it means the outgassing is perfectly distributed, or the rotation is incredibly fast. If it's artificial, well, a steady hum is exactly what you'd expect from a running system, a standby mode, or a carrier wave. We are now less than 2 weeks away from the closest approach, December 19th. On that day, 3I Atlas will be 1.8 AU from Earth. That's far, twice the distance to the Sun, but for our telescopes, it's point-blank range. The James Webb Space Telescope is scheduled to look. Hubble is already looking. Every radio dish that can tilt is going to be pointed at that blue dot. What are we looking for on the 19th? We are looking for the shell. There's a hypothesis that the comet we see, the gas, the dust, the blue glow, is just a shield, a camouflage, or a byproduct of the real object hidden inside. If the gas clears, or if we can peer through it with infrared, we might see the nucleus. Is it a potato-shaped rock like Oumuamua? Or is it something with geometry? And there is one more thing. A new paper has just surfaced regarding the dust 3I Atlas is leaving behind. Remember the friendly gardener, the methanol and cyanide? Well, it turns out the particle size of the dust is wrong. It's too big. Comets usually shed fine dust, like smoke. 3I Atlas is shedding pebbles, gravel. Why does that matter? Because fine dust blows away in the solar wind. Pebbles stay. Pebbles follow the orbit. If 3I Atlas is seeding the solar system, it's not using a spray. It's planting heavy seeds. Seeds that will linger in our system long after the object is gone. Are we looking at a delivery system? And if so, has the package already been dropped? In the next part, we're going to talk about the message. Not a radio signal, but a physical one. What if the object isn't the message? What if the debris is? And we will discuss the terrifying theory of why it might be blue. And what that color tells us about the energy source driving it. Stay tuned. The 19th is coming, and we might not be ready for what we see. We have been looking for a signal, a beep, a sequence of prime numbers, But what if we are listening for a whisper when we should be looking for a footprint? Let's go back to that gravel. The heavy dust. If you are an interstellar traveler, whether you are a biological spore or a sentient probe, you have a problem. Space is big. Time is deep. Radio waves fade. They get lost in the background static of the universe. But matter endures. If 3i Atlas is a friendly gardener, as Loeb suggests, it wouldn't just scream into the void. It would leave breadcrumbs. The fact that this object is shedding large, heavy particles, pebbles instead of smoke, is significant. Fine dust gets blown out of the solar system by the pressure of sunlight. It's gone. But heavy particles, they stay. They settle into orbits. They become part of our system. We might be looking at a message in a bottle scenario, but the bottle isn't one object. It's millions of tiny capsules, dropped precisely where a planet like Earth might one day encounter them. Are these seeds? Are they dormant biological packages protected by a carbon shell? Or are they just rocks? The timing is suspicious. It dumps this material after surviving the sun. After the sterilization of the perihelion. It's almost as if the sun was the trigger. I have arrived. I am warm. Release the payload. And then there is the blue. I told you it shifted color. But let's dig into why. That is terrifying. In the cold vacuum of space, things don't just glow blue for no reason. Blue light is high energy. On Earth, you see it in lightning. You see it in the hottest flames. And you see it in nuclear reactors. It's called Cherenkov radiation. Now, the official line is ionized gas, carbon and nitrogen burning off. And that is likely true. But the intensity? The persistence? 3i Atlas is moving away from the sun. It is getting colder every second. The burning should be stopping. The fact that it is increasing in the blue spectrum suggests an internal energy source. Is the core of this comet hot? Is it radioactive? If we put on our mystic scientist hat for a second. Imagine a ship. It dives past the sun to recharge. It uses the solar heat to jumpstart a reaction. And now, as it pulls away, its engines are hot. The blue coma isn't just gas. It's exhaust. It's the glow of a drive plume that is pushing it toward that non-gravitational trajectory we talked about. We are seeing the afterburner. The most maddening part? We still can't see it. We have telescopes that can see the beginning of time, but we can't see the hull of this ship. Why? Because of the coma. That beautiful, glowing cloud of gas and dust is also a curtain. It wraps the nucleus in a fog that is thousands of kilometers thick. Is it a natural shield? Or is it a deliberate screen? If you were passing through a hostile system, monitored by a primitive species with radar and telescopes, wouldn't you deploy a smokescreen? The radar pings are coming back fuzzy. We know it's big, maybe 5 kilometers wide. That's a city-sized object, but we can't resolve the shape. Is it a jagged rock, or is it a smooth cylinder? The gas hides everything. But on December 19th, the angle changes. As 3i Atlas passes Earth, the sun will be illuminating it from the side. We might, just might, get a glimpse through the thinning tail. We might see the shadow of the nucleus. And this is where the serial killer theory comes back. If that blue glow is radiation, and if those seeds are not friendly, then we have just been dusted with something we don't understand. We are worried about it hitting us. But maybe it doesn't need to hit us. Maybe it just needs to fly by. In the final part, we are going to look at the departure. Where is it going? And the most chilling question of all. What if 3i Atlas isn't the visitor? What if it's just the scout? And I'm going to tell you about the silence. The moment when the data stops. You need to hear this. The silence. That is what awaits us after December. We've spent months obsessing over the noise, the radio hum, the chemical signals, the visual spectacle of the tails. But the most chilling part of this encounter isn't what 3i Atlas is doing. It's what it is not doing. It is not stopping. It is moving at 30 kilometers per second relative to the sun. It is on an escape trajectory. By March 2026, it will cross the orbit of Jupiter. By the early 2030s, it will be a ghost in the outer dark, leaving our solar system forever. It didn't slow down to say hello. It didn't hail us. It didn't land on the White House lawn. And that is what scares the scout theorists the most. If you are exploring a jungle, you don't stop to talk to the ants. You map the terrain. You take samples. You drop your markers. And you keep moving. Is 3i Atlas the marker? Remember that anti-tail? The one pointing relentlessly at the sun? We assumed it was a stabilizer or an exhaust plume. But what if it's an antenna? A high-gain relay beaming data back to somewhere else? And what about the seeds? That heavy gravel we talked about? The payload that is now drifting in our solar system, settling into stable orbits? If this was a scout, its job wasn't to invade. Its job was to prepare. To plant something that might wake up in 10 years, or 100, or 1,000. We are left with the uncomfortable reality. We have been visited. Was it a rock? A friendly gardener bringing the ingredients of life? A serial killer dusting us with poison? Or a scout mapping our defenses? On December 19th, we get our last best look. The data we gather in the next 10 days will be analyzed for decades. We will look for the hull through the thinning gas. We will listen to the hum. We will analyze that electric blue light. But after the 19th, the door starts to close. The visitor turns its back. The light will fade. The hum will drop below the static. This channel will be tracking every second of the flyby. If the signal changes, if the trajectory shifts, if the shell cracks and reveals what's inside, you will know it here first. Do not look away. The universe just knocked on our door. We need to be awake to answer. Subscribe, like, share this video. The algorithm hides the truth, but we find it together. I'll see you on the 19th.